feeling typical but serious, heavy procrastination? Maybe, I always want whatever is going on for me personally to be the giant meaning of the moon. And this full moon is telling me this. Let's just lay it out from the very beginning. And then, it's done. Of course, I'm going to keep talking for a little while, but try this on for size. The heaviness that you might feel, or the stuckness, or the disappointment in things not going the way you might imagine it would look if all were well, or if the world was leaning in the direction you wished the world were going, or maybe not even the world, but life as you know it. What if this moon is saying that is correct? The direction you think would look like progress is blocked. And therefore, your freedom, your exaltation, let's use that word, is in the other direction. It's in the other direction. So let's talk about what that means to go in the other direction, the one that is overgrown, is blocked even. What does it mean to go in the other direction? And how could this full moon be telling us that our freedom is there for us, yet isn't in the direction that we think it is? Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Anne Headley, and this is my podcast, What is Going On Anyway?, where I take some time every couple of weeks to check in intuitively, imaginally, and creatively with the new or full moon, and I share my take with you. I use my imagination and intuition together to tell a story by surfing the present moment and sharing it with you. My experience of this sharing is something like a hybrid of imagination and inspiration. And I think it's possibly a very good way to brainstorm for the future. I hope this encourages you to look for your own waves of presence that fuel inspiration, intuition, and courage. Ultimately, I hope this becomes an internal revolution of self-worth for myself and others, which I believe is necessary to usher us into the future collaboration of being here together. I'm especially interested in my own experience of spirituality and talking to other people about theirs, and the question, what are we here for? What is the meaning of life? This is a podcast for intuitives and the intuitively curious. This is for folks who value personal spiritual experiences and ask questions about why we are here and the meaning of life, despite simultaneously knowing these are unresolvable queries. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here with me, and I really love it when you reach out to me after listening or maybe sometimes mid-listen to throw ideas and questions and wonderings my way. Please do reach out. Please share this podcast widely. I know some of you already do, and I love it when I see that my podcast followers have gone up. It's a reminder every month that you're here, that you're listening, and that even this small offering matters. So I'm not loving this full moon. This is a full moon in Libra. My birth moon is in Libra, and I thought I was going to love it. I don't. I feel a lot of stuckness, not the muddy stuckness. I feel the stuckness of trying to knock on doors that are walls. They're not even doors. I kind of like, I think I know the way through here. I've always gone through thresholds using doors. And so I think there should be a door here. Meanwhile, I think I'm in some kind of like elevator contraption and there's no doors at all, but I am going to somehow get the mechanism going. And it's almost like the mechanism going means that you shift your weight left and right, like you're on some kind of like treadmill that works by shifting your weight one way and the other, and shifting and shifting, and then the platform lifts up, and then it was never a doorway anyway. All the walls sort of like dissolve into the ground, and that's the way through. Does that make sense? That's kind of like, that's not a stuckness. That's a, I've never done this before kind of, I don't know what the way through is here, but it's not the way it used to be. That's what this moon feels like to me. And this is kind of a boring way of telling this story. Boring to me because the story I've told over and over again. But a lot of you know me, or maybe you can just see the picture on my podcast thumbnail. I am a bald woman, and I deal with an autoimmune disorder called alopecia, which means that my immune system does not like hair follicles and will attack them, so I cannot grow hair. Or at the moment, I can't grow hair. Sometimes my immune system doesn't bother my hair follicles, and my hair will grow. But it hasn't in a long time. And it doesn't bug me all that much. However, I could spend every day trying to address this as a big problem and work on diet and better doctors and healers that could help me grow my hair, that my life focus could be around solving that problem. And my freedom would rest in my hair growing back. I'm suggesting that this moon is something like fighting the wrong fight, that it's confronting us with knocking on a wall thinking it's a door. So my freedom as a bald woman is to not try to grow hair, is to let that just be the facts, and to look for my freedom in other places in my life where I have more agency. I have more hands in the dirt. And I'm suggesting that this moon is something like that. That if you take a moment and look at the circumstances of your life right now, there are some things that you are not going to be able to have an effect on. And then there's other things that you do have a massive effect on. For me right now, getting sleep at night makes a huge difference in my life and my day-to-day life, a huge difference in my experience of the world. And I love to stay up late. So it's a struggle for me. But the past few nights, I've been going to bed earlier and having restful nights, despite the fact that it's a full moon. Usually I don't sleep well when there's a full moon rising, when we're in this 5-day period of full moonness in the sky. I'm not suggesting that sleep is your thing, but it certainly is for a lot of us. What I'm saying is that I may not be able to change some of the bigger things in the world right now, but the things that I can change, it might be time to start attending to those things. I'm really missing making more of my own food. I just have let that slide away. And I'm almost saying that like it's my fault. The circumstances of my life more recently haven't been as home-centered, and I haven't been pushing in that direction. I've been letting my exhaustion help me make choices in the food realm. And I have years of feeling the oppression of I was a bad wife, basically, for not having food around in the right way. And bad being my own opinion of myself, and also hints that I got from my ex. But that was just the soup that we're swimming in. And so I'm trying to find my freedom inside of doing what I want and also having what I want. You know, like I want to have the freedom to not have to be the one, that is the homemaker. I want the homemaking to be a shared experience. And yet I want the homemaking. So I'm in this, feeling myself in this crossroads of how do I solve this problem? I don't have the inner resources to do everything that I think I want and need to do right now. That's kind of just, this is just an example. You're going to have your own stuff coming up, right? The example for me is that I have a picture of what I think good living looks like, and I'm not there yet. And I can't get there through the old avenues of shaming myself into getting there or using someone else's standards to get me where I want to be. So it's like a kind of a funny place for me to find my sovereignty inside of the choices that I want. And it's not because I'm pleasing anyone else. And I feel like this moon is bringing light to this for me. But I don't think what I'm telling you is the theme of the moon. I think the moon is saying, hey, what's going on in your life that feels like you cannot possibly attempt to solve it in the way that you have done historically or you thought you could historically? What's something that's going to need some kind of real thought innovation in order to create an inner revolution around that? So for me, my sleeping, I stay up late and I feel free and joyous. And I need to find my freedom and my joy in that restful body that I get when I have more time at night to rest. And also, I'm hoping there's some way of doing this without becoming some kind of disciplinarian to my own self. That doesn't last for me. I have been able to do things for short periods of time to change behaviors when I think I'm going to be better. It just doesn't last for me. And the real changes that stick for me have an incredible amount of freedom to do or not do, and they have to do with me being comfortable with myself and feeling a sense of belonging inside of a practice. Okay, so I just listened. I just went back. I listened up to this point. I'm just about to throw our hexagram, but I don't like I don't like what I've said. I don't like how I've said it. And I also don't want to redo it. I'm not going back to change it. There are the old days I would have scrapped the whole thing and started over. And I'm just going to sit with the discomfort of trying and being unsuccessful in my own perception. You may disagree with me very kindly and say, no, it's been fine. But for myself, it's just like, as I feel into it, I actually think this is the point of this moon. When things don't go your way, what do? I just feel frustrated and ashamed that I can't do better than this. I always sound the same to myself. I basically repeat the same thing. It just sounds the same to me. You can't know. Get comfortable with that. And there's another way you haven't considered. It's like where I'm getting to. Somehow, facing the unknown, only knowing there's some other way to see it, feels utterly unhelpful. It's kind of maddening. And I'm just going to go with the fact that this moon is having me feel this. Okay, it's uncomfortable. I'm seeing it all very clearly because there's plenty of light illuminating from the moon, brightening this trouble of mine. And knowing that there's some other way also just feels maddening, that it's not apparent to me that there's a puzzle to solve before I can find the way that makes more sense to my being. Okay, but now I'm just getting a little insight. Just as I get really frustrated, I just want to see if I can pull this through. It's a feeling picture. The feeling picture is to do with letting go of expectations and staying with the feeling. So the feeling for myself of being not like I didn't work hard enough, I didn't prepare enough to, give a better podcast than this. I'm just laughing because, who really cares? Who cares? Who cares? Okay, at the same time. And I think this is, story time. Oh, man. I have to put my head down to tell you this story. Okay, put my head down. It's like I need to take a break from my own self. Like I'm just sick of myself right now. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'm just tired of the same way I always do stuff. Okay, quickly. I don't even know why I have to do it quickly. I went to this dance weekend, and it was hard for me actually because I was trying to hold my energy inside, and a lot of times I go to these things and I get involved in other people's stories, not so much my own story. This new chapter for me of staying with myself, really staying in my grounded feet, staying in my own experience, having a lot of inward focus. And I'm so proud of myself because I did, and it is something that has been hard for me historically to stay out of other people's stories. One of the exercises that we were given, and it was optional, voluntary, you didn't have to do it. We were broken into groups of 3. You tell the 2 people that are with you some kind of negative self-talk. They say this negative self-talk as you dance your way through them being the threshold. You dance for a while, you pause, they come find you, they start repeating your negative self-talk. You dance your way through again. You pause as many times as you want. There is music playing, so there's 3 songs with different rhythms playing. And every time you stop, you go through this threshold with the negative self-talk. At the very end, those same threshold people offer their hands. You can take them or not. Before they offer you hands, they stand behind you without touching you, saying, thank you for dancing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your wholeness. Whatever you might think as that person to say thank you for. A lot of times it was a completion of the negative self-talk or an opposition of the negative self-talk because it seemed so obvious that there was space for that to exist. I'm just saying that as the one who did that role too. For me, I went in there and I said, I need you to say this to me. This is my negative self-talk. You never finish anything that you really want to do. It doesn't even matter. And nobody cares anyway. And I didn't want to say it out loud to begin with. That was hard to say out loud to other people. And then it was really hard to hear it over and over and over again. And I heard it and I thought, I know, I'll just keep dancing. I'll never stop. And that way they'll never come back over here to make a threshold for me to dance through again or move through again. But I did stop. And I also didn't want to have like a total breakdown in front of 60 other people. So I was holding, feeling, grounding, doing all of this efforting. And I could feel myself not wanting to hear it. And then I was hearing it and I was doing some releasing type dancing in between. And then they came over one time, about halfway through, and I just heard it differently. They were saying it exactly the same way, like a soft, even tone. I just heard it differently. And it's made me giggle. I just started giggling. And then I would stop just to see if I could feel that way again when I heard this negative self-talk coming at me. And by the end, I couldn't wait to hear it again. Now, I don't know what would happen if you were to have this experience, and certainly not everybody had the experience I had in that room. But there was something so powerful about the exact words that felt oppressive, were the exact words that made me free. You never finish what you really want to do. And I was talking about like artistry, art projects, basically putting art into the world. I never finish the things, so I can't really like put them out in the world. But the way I was hearing it was, you'd never finish what you really want to do. It's like, yeah, duh. I never want to finish what I really want to do. I always want to do what I really want to do. And then nobody cares, which was like totally freeing. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You're free. Nobody cares. And it doesn't matter anyway. Not as a, like, nobody cares about you and you don't matter. It was like, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. You are free. And I felt this freedom and joy that the words came at me differently. That's the kind of magic transition that I'm imagining around this full moon. Something illuminates that the very thing that might feel the most oppressive, like I could be so upset that I don't have hair and everybody else has hair. Of course, not everybody else has hair, but you know what I mean. But actually not having hair is so wonderful. There's so many wonderful things about it. It is a kind of freedom. I never worry. I never have a bad hair day. I never worry about my hair. I really do love that. And so what are the other things that are feeling like constrictions or places that I want to squeeze myself closer into a ball and hide away from these places in my life? The things that feel unchangeable, unfixable. What are those things? And what if I could sit with them? What if I could stay? What if I could stay with the fact that my podcast is boring? It's just me talking. It's just boring. What if I could just stay with it? And so it's not for everybody. So what? It's not. And that's okay. Nobody cares. You're free. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter anyway. Just keep doing what you want to be doing. On and on and on and on. Okay, let's you get the idea. I've talked long enough. Let's turn to the advice of the I Ching and see, what do you have for us this time? What hexagram is best for us to understand this moment in time and this full moon for us now? And we get hexagram 12. No wonder. We get hexagram 12 blocked. Right? That's how it feels. What work can you do when nothing is working? Who are you when no one is noticing? Oh, I love that question. Who are you when no one is noticing? Nothing moves or grows. Communication doesn't happen. Everything is negated and blocked. And this is because of, in quotations, non-people. That may mean that some people are a consistently, exclusively, and pathologically negative influence and sabotage all attempts at progress. It can also refer to perceiving someone as not quite a real person, explaining their behavior with labels and stereotypes rather than seeking to understand. In both cases, there's a complete failure of empathy. This means that your very best and strongest efforts come to nothing. You can have a soaring, imaginative concept of the creative possibilities here, and you can have the will to be true to that concept and carry it through. You're not doing anything wrong. The problem is that these creative possibilities are just not available when things are blocked. Small concerns dominate. The adaptive response is not to strive constantly to rise to a higher level, but to focus your attention on the small details, the immediate, uninspiring reality. I'm adding this, like going to bed early, like having a pot of soup on the stove. Immediate, uninspiring. This makes me feel better. that maybe this is simply the moment. We do have changing line 5. Resting when blocked. Great person, good fortune. It is lost, it is lost, exclamation point. Tie it to the bushy mulberry tree. I don't have any idea what that means. Another explanation of the changing line 5. A sweeping change for the better is indicated. Things can improve and progress. Yet this is the very time to feel cautious and reserved. With such an attitude, your success is doubly ensured and a strong foundation is established for the new times. So let's imagine that we've got new times a-coming, because I just love to imagine this. If new times are a-coming, right now is a good moment to sit and be comfortable with this kind of obstruction. Sit and be familiar with it so that this kind of obstruction isn't something that is a stranger to us. So as we move through changes, as we move forward into new times, that familiarity gives us the strength and confidence to see things differently. Just like I described in that dancing through the threshold, me being comfortable with that kind of obstruction. You never finish what you say you're going to finish, what you want to finish. You never do things, and nobody cares, and it doesn't matter anyway. It could be really oppressive. But when I became more familiar with it and friendly with it, I could see it both ways. I can still hear it in my head, and it feels hurty, but I can also hear it as a release and a freedom. And so as we go into these new times, being comfortable and familiar with these kinds of obstructions, let's just use negative self-talk because we all do that. If we can become familiar with our negative self-talk, it hurts us less because we can see it as more of a fully formed concept, not just having to receive it in one way. And I think that image early on that I described of knocking on a wall thinking it's a door and then having to rethink the way I do things, maybe there's a new way for me to sleep earlier and better. Maybe there's a new way to have delicious, nourishing food available that I haven't even considered yet. Okay, it moves to hexagram 35, advancing. What gifts and opportunities have you been given? How can you make the most of them? Advancing is also progress. This is a time of rapid progress, which begins in a particularly radiant and enlightened individual and benefits her entire society. She is in turn recognized and given a prominent what is this? She is in turn recognized and given a prominent position of continuing influence. She's thought of as an asset by both those in authority and those whom she leads. No. Let's just read further here. Communication is now of vast importance during a time of rapid progress, which this hexagram that we're moving towards indicates. It's wise for you to stay in close touch with all levels of your social I don't like this, of your social world. Monitor the needs of others and be supportive of progressive improvements. Take an active part in the affairs of society now in order to refine and enhance your inner worth. I don't love it. I don't love that. Hang on, let me look at another one. Okay, this is interesting. I have to go backwards for a second. In this other book, Stephen Karcher, Total I Ching, it says for the changing line, we've got stop, obstruction is the name of hexagram 12. Obstacles, blocked communication, closed. 9 at the 5th says relinquishing the obstruction. Wise words. For the great person, the way opens. It disappears. It disappears. There's an exclamation point. Attach it to the thick-leafed mulberry tree. So that's part of that translation. Correcting the situation is appropriate. If you are fighting the obstruction, it's time to let go. When you truly feel the connection, the way will open. The obstacles and troubles are disappearing. Imagine that you are in a quiet, rural retreat. That is the place for you. This is the sun altar, the place where princes are given their mandate. It is where the world tree grows. It will correct the whole situation. Direction. You emerge into the light. Reimagine the situation. Gather energy for a decisive new move. And it moves to 35. In this book, it's called Flourishing, a Rising Sun. At the rising of the sun, everything on earth is pushed into sprouting. The root of flourishing is the spirit that protects and animates the sun. Suns and kings or powerful figures are synonymous, so this is also a rising sun, the emergence of a powerful, noble, recognized at the center of power. I'm seeing that as the recognition of the self, the sovereignty of the self, or the reigning sovereign of the self, which is you finding you and me, right? Finding power within. And let me just read this. Flourishing describes your situation in terms of emerging slowly and surely into the full light of day. The way to deal with it is to give freely in order to help things emerge and flourish. Be calm in your strength and poise. Take delight in things. Give gifts of strength and spirit to enhance those connected with you. You will be received by the higher powers 3 times in a single day. I love things like that because it feels silly to me. I mean, maybe it will feel like that. You will be received 3 times in one day. It does mention that a cycle is ending, and that would be probably a nice thing for all of us. Ending a cycle, beginning anew. Okay, so there you have it. That's the hexagram for this full moon. We'll be back for an probably interesting new moon in April. New moons intrigue me. I feel these full moons sometimes feel like a lot. And going into a new moon in a new cycle feels intriguing to me. So I look forward to that. Thank you for being here with me. You can always reach out to me through my website, www.annhedley.com, ANNHEDLY. May you be well, may you know peace, and may all beings everywhere, whether known to me and us or not, may they be well, and may they know peace. Bye for now.